In Australia, domestic violence is defined by the Family Law Act 1975 as violent, threatening or other behavior by a person that coerces or controls a member of the person's family, or causes the family member to be fearful. The Act refers to acts of violence that occur between people who have, or have had, an intimate relationship in domestic settings. Domestic violence includes violence between partners of both sexes, including same-sex relationships. However, the term can be altered by each state's legislation and can broaden the spectrum of domestic violence, such as in Victoria, where family-like relationships and witnessing any type of violence in the family is defined as a family violence, to refer to domestic violence. In Australia, states chose to name them differently. As such, in Australia domestic violence, depending on the state, it's called domestic violence, family violence, domestic and family violence, and domestic abuse. A survey of domestic violence data in Australia revealed that 1 in 3 women and 1 in 20 men have experienced at least one incident of violence from a current or former partner since the age of 15. On average between 2010 and 2012, every 10 days a female died as a result of family violence, with a total of 75 over the period. Whilst in 2015, females accounted for almost 2/3 of all victims of FDV-related homicide in Australia in 2015. Between 2014 and 2016 there were 264,028 domestic violence incidents reported and recorded. However, Australian Bureau of Statistics' released data revealed that 80% of women and 95% of men who had experienced violence from a current partner never contacted the police. The most common reason for not reporting was cited as fear of revenge or further violence from the current partner. Between 2014 and 2015, 2,800 women and 560 men were hospitalized after being assaulted by a spouse or partner. A paper published in Melbourne in 2016 revealed that from 121,251 domestic violence incidents recorded over a 2-year period, more than 21% involved alcohol by either or both parties. In the wake of the murder of Hannah Clark and her children by her estranged husband in 2020, it was revealed that between 2000 and 2019, an estimated 1,038 Australian children were bereaved by domestic homicide. The child's mother was murdered, and women had either left or were in the process of leaving their partner. A critical report by Australian Institute of Health and Welfare in 2018 revealed that 1 in 6 women and 1 in 9 men were physically and/or sexually abused before the age of 15. The same report revealed that 72,000 women, 34,000 children and 9,000 men employed homelessness services in 2016-17 due to domestic violence. In 1996, the Australian Bureau of Statistics held a national survey, entitled Women's Safety Survey, which provided the first comprehensive national data on all forms of violence against women. In 1997, John Howard, the Prime Minister of Australia, brought together the heads of all states and territories and acknowledged the domestic violence phenomena across Australia and set to work together to resolve the issue. In the same year, the Commonwealth Government of Australia committed $50 million to test preventative measures and practices to address domestic violence. The program was called Partnerships Against Domestic Violence, and was funded until 2003. Along with this funding, Centrelink started providing emergency crisis payments to women who were victims of domestic violence. During that same year, the Commonwealth Government established the Partnerships Program, which provided $157 million for each state and territory for the Supported Accommodation Assistance Program, which provides transitional support and accommodation to homeless people, many of whom are women escaping domestic violence. The Partnerships Program has sponsored more than 100 projects to explore practices at local, regional and national levels. Those projects included development of competency standards, worker training, research into domestic violence, community awareness products and better coordination systems between police and the justice system. The program also established the Australian Domestic Violence Clearinghouse, which gathers research and publications from each state and territory of Australia but also from overseas. In 1997 to 2001, The National Indigenous Family Violence Grants Program was initiated by the government and provided $6 million over the 4-year period. The grant was aimed at helping local indigenous communities to reduce family violence. They were assisted by a mentoring team which provided advice on project management, self-documentation and self-evaluation. In 2001, the government established the National Initiative to Combat Sexual Assault with funding of $16.5 million Australian dollars over 4 years and administered by the Office of the Status of Women. In 2004-2005, an additional $6.7 million Australian dollars was granted to NICSA. Between August and December 2005, the